Hey y'all, what's up? Happy. Let me turn this stuff off. So again, y'all know I'm getting used to this orientation of looking this way versus looking this way. So listen, guys. So I'm coming on here to let you guys to talk. So welcome. So hey, I let me see what happens if I put it this way. Guys, we gonna have to just go with it. Just go with it. No, okay. So it's actually this way. All right. Let me see something. Okay. All right. So y'all gonna have to bear with me, guys. So listen, so welcome. If you are new here, then welcome. My name is Trishelle Florence, nutrition coach as well as your lifestyle strategist. So you guys been rocking with me for a while. You know that we right now inside of my free community, we are doing a 30 days of walking challenge for the month of May, right? And so I normally be talking to you guys while I'm on that walk. I already did the walk earlier. It's been raining here for the past like 3 days, or like 2.5 days, right? And so, well, 2 days, yeah, because it wasn't raining on Mother's Day, so 2 days. No, I said it right, 2.5 days, like because today's Wednesday, and I wanted to talk to you guys about. Also, I told you how I'm going to be resetting my 90-day. What is it? No processed foods journey. You guys are rocking with me. Rocking with me on my other one that I did, and it was cool. It definitely had some benefits, but I want to talk about some of the different benefits that actually happened during that time. So a lot of times you think it's just about weight loss, right? I can even admit that going into it, that may have been one of my focuses was to lose weight, drop some inches, all that good stuff, right? And it's not to say that anything is wrong with that. It's just that that shouldn't be the only measurement that you use to say if you did good or not, right? Now, because in reality, I think I only lost about, not only, I lost about 5 pounds. And I remember at one point it got to 10 because I was doing other, I had some during that time frame of 90 days. I had other commitments of like fasting, things like that, that weren't related to the 90 days process, just things that I do from a spiritual basis for my own growth, right? And in my own belief. So that helped. So it was times where it'd been like you might say like a 10 or 11 pound, difference when those things were added on. However, overall and all, when it all was said and done, I would say about 5 pounds, and probably about an inch off my waist. Then I didn't take my other measurements like my arm and my thigh, stuff like I did when I first started to see where I ended. But the things I can say that I did notice was the skin and the skin glowing. That's still, there. And how even the appetite for certain things have left. And then just the realization, guys, that even me, your wonderful, amazing nutrition coach, health coach, natural wellness, natural healing coach, realized that I was eating and still consuming a lot of processed foods. And that old habit sometimes can die hard, right? I'm not ashamed to admit that, not afraid to admit that, because that's all part of growth. And you don't have a heaven or hell to put me in, right? And it's all about growth, right? So we all are human beings, but we all are striving, but we should be, I should say, all striving to do better and actually reach that whole mark that God has called us to when it comes to our health, because He's called us to, prosper not only in our soul but also in our health as our soul prospers, right? And that can't come from you not wanting to evaluate, not wanting to see, not wanting to look at what you're consuming, specifically what you put in your mouth, what you're consuming physically, right? So that was a big one. So that realization, seeing the skin, of course, and then the taste buds that happen. And so, like I said, also the different other shifts. So those were some of the physical and emotion, but also some emotional shifts that happen, right? So with realizing, coming to that realization that my I was still consuming certain stuff, that kind of hit me a little hard emotionally, right? Because I'm like, why how did I get back here? Why am I doing this? You know, because it's a time I love fresh fruits and vegetables, heavier on the fruit than veggies. But even in that, that's a realization I've had to shift and come to. And it's okay. It's okay because some of y'all are heavy on Jolly Ranchers. So you can't. Okay, so I'm glad that the heavy is heavier on the fruit, real fruit, than it is on some Jolly Ranchers, right? So let's keep things in perspective. We're going to keep things in perspective, even within ourselves, right? And because we are worst critics at times. So that was a little bit of an emotional task, emotional tax when I realized that, because it made me to see. I was like, even as, like I said, that person with that with the business owner, with the company that has been doing very well and help people to heal, even have my own personal story of healing, which I'll come back to next if you guys not familiar. And having kept that healing, sustained, and helped others, to do the same thing. Big, well known in the internet streets and all that kind of stuff like that. To now notice, to realize emotionally, to come to that realization that I had those things going on, was an emotional task, a little emotional taxing, to realize that, not me, I'm no. So I had to come to that realization and then make a shift, and realize that don't sit in victim mode, but actually realize what's good, and make that change happen. And so again, a little bit about my story. Also, that was the emotional. I talked about the physical of this losing, and also not just, but also all together over that time, because it wasn't perfect either. It was definitely, if you guys go back and look at some of the videos where I was documenting, it wasn't perfect. Some days were intentionally, where I set out, like for my birthday, I knew I was going to eat out and eat a couple of things that weren't within that list or that genre of non-processed foods. And it was other times where I did have some choices. So it's so it was, so like I said, the 5 pounds and about an inch off the waist. That was the physical. And the spiritual shifts that occurred were definitely, just having an awakening of that. Hey girl, you still got weights that you carrying. You still got spiritual weights that you're carrying. It's not just about weight, physical. This is about spiritual weights that you're still carrying too, that have now began to try to form themselves and manifest themselves in this physical weight that I thought this was going to be all about in this 90 days. God was like, psych, I got you, daughter. I got something way better for you. But isn't that just like him, for us to go in thinking one thing, and then he definitely helps us in other ways, right? So, um, yeah, so that was that. So those were the main things. And then also, so talk a little bit about my story. I think if you guys are new here, then stay around because way more to come. If you've been here, then stick around because it's still way more to come. And I'm gonna remind you real quick of this amazing story that God has done for me in my life. So in 2015, I was diagnosed with prediabetes, chronic high blood pressure, to the point that I was hospitalized for 6 days. I was carrying a bunch of excess weight, and like 200, I was like 270 pounds. And this was after the baby. So it wasn't about the baby weight. This was after it was still just sitting, it wouldn't move for some reason. And I wasn't, so it was that. And then I had got diagnosed with a condition called pseudotumor cerebri, right? So it's a central nervous disorder. And I had that. And long story short, I was in all kind of pain, chronic headaches, chronic pain. I would have moments of blindness because that was one of the symptoms of the central nervous disorder. They were telling me if I didn't go on this medication and get spinal taps with an MRI and an X-ray, which was horrendous, every quarter, every so often, that I could potentially go blind. Had to stop breastfeeding my son, which was traumatic emotionally. And it's because of the medication being toxic, could be toxic to him. And it was a lot of different things, right? And long story short, I started to seek God on, look, this not your plan. You promised me, Dis-ease is not my portion. You sent your word to heal every dis-ease. So what's this going to be for me? So after seeking him, realizing our bodies can heal themselves when we equip them with the right foods, I have never been medication free for the past 7 years. I lost 60 pounds, came off all medications, and have been keeping that medication free status and a pound the weight off. Some fluctuation here and there um, for the past 7 years. So we thank God, and my child's calling me. So this is live, so I don't have to get with it. Yes. Okay, give me a minute. So, so guys, so again, I want to jump on here really quickly and just, let y'all know that. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. But I do want to let you know that if you need help with any of these things that we're doing, right? If you need help with not knowing where to get started, hey, maybe you got some of those same disorders you heard me list that have blood pressure, maybe you can get other ones, high cholesterol, the central nervous disorders. All of it goes back to eating God's original foods, right? And eating more of them and eating things in God's original status. All right. So if you need help with that, I got you. So join us inside of our free community, the Healing Collective, where we are doing right now a 30-day walking challenge for the month of May. And we're going to be able to help you and support you in that and getting your body moved. Because one thing I always say is that dis-ease is driven out the body through what we eat and through movements. Okay, so let's keep that movement going let's get your movement started by getting inside the community. So we're on day 13 right now. People are posting inside of the group because we started on May 2nd. People are posting inside the group. I'm posting. We all are posting, keeping each other accountable and helpful. So get inside there. We got other resources in there, meal plans, detox plans. So let's go. No excuses, right? And it's free. So go to the link that's it's going to be here in the description box as well as in the bio profile on here on YouTube. So don't forget to like and subscribe, to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I will see you guys later. Ta-ta.